Okay, it's Mike Messier. Greatest Royal Rumble thoughts, feelings, concerns, enjoyments, disagreements, whatever the fucks. First of all, on a political level, this just reminded me, didn't even make this correlation or reference earlier. The North Korea show, wasn't it a North Korea show that Ric Flair wrestled Inoki? I want to say in, what was that, early 95, January, fucking February 95. It was a Ric Flair Collision in Korea match, which I think was sponsored. It was, I believe, wasn't it the North Koreans? And it wasn't the asshole that we have now. It was another guy. But basically, it really, I guess I need to do more research into all the politics, but it seems like the WWE put their shine on the shit. They put over the Saudi Arabians as this evolving people, etc., etc. Some people that know more about this than I do would disagree with that. Maybe they're evolving, but there's still a ways to go. And aren't they at war with people? Aren't they killing people? I mean, I don't know the answers to this, so I don't want to be misquoted on the news and the information. But at the end of the day, it's kind of one of those deals where, was the show good? Yeah, the show was good. Now, because the show was good, it was very good, as a matter of fact. It felt like a pay-per-view quality show. They didn't just throw titles, back and forth, left and right, title change after title change. In fact, from my memory, off the top of my head, I think it was just that one Raw Tag Team Championship that came over to, Bray and Matt Hardy there. That was the only title. It was kind of a vacant title match, I think, so they got the belts. Watching this thing, I mean, they kept rubbing it in your face, not that they shouldn't, I guess, but historic. They trotted out the King, Jerry Lawler, not wearing a shirt, just wearing his little King vest and his fucking man chest sticking out. And Jim Ross, God bless him, didn't look so great. No offense to Jim Ross, I know he's been through a lot, but he did look terrific today. Maybe he was tired, the guy has been through a lot physically, and but anyway, it was good to see Jim Ross there. But I mean, everybody's just throwing the historic term, and someone on one of the Facebook things, I think it was a female correspondent or a fan, said, what's historic about it? Which is a good point, because if you're going to say that the greatest Royal Rumble match itself is historic, that's fine. Is it the first network special out of Saudi Arabia? Okay, that's historic, I guess. So yeah, there's some historic stuff, but it wasn't the first WWE show out of Saudi Arabia. So that, and obviously didn't have the women. Now, the women not being on the show, I have a tendency to be cynical, so I could see Vince McMahon and all his Vince McMahonness using the success of this show creatively, and hopefully financially. Hopefully it was worth it. I mean, obviously it was. I could see Vince using this as a negotiation tactic for all the women wrestlers of the present and future. And you can argue that and say, oh, don't be an asshole. That's how Vince McMahon thinks. I mean, he's going to say to these women in the future, well, we've been letting you dolls wrestle all this time. Of course, we did that big show over with our Saudi Arabian friends. Didn't have a female wrestler in the house. So don't think that Vince won't use that as a negotiation tactic. I'm sorry, he will, okay? Don't be naive. But as far as the actual show, it was good. I mean, I think here's a little crib notes, and I don't know how other people watch wrestling, but with WWE these days, with the amount of interviews and commentary desks and filler and replay and all that other bullshit, and just matches that are, not great, not scintillating, like Jim Ross used to say, you have to really watch WWE big 5-hour shows like this while you're doing something else. You have to have your laptop on. You have to be doing something, some type of errand around your home environment, or taking care of emails, or cleaning out your fucking sock drawer, or something productive. You need to do that while watching WWE. Because when I was a kid and you're glued to the set and you're captivated by every fucking, Conan and Disco Inferno lockup, or every Shawn Michaels arm drag, or Sunny, segment, or whatever the fuck. that's not the same as now, where there's so much of it, and a lot of it is, not to say that they're not trying. I mean, I think the wrestlers are trying as hard as they ever had, maybe even harder, but there's so much stuff that you don't really need to have your eyes glued to the set. I did this with WrestleMania. I doddered around my apartment today. I kind of doddered around the computer doing a bunch of stuff. You have the WWE in the background as like your friend, and you kind of poke your head up to see when a good match happens. As far as the matches, they were better than I thought they would be. I think that, to give them credit, the talent in the WWE always works very hard. Highlights, I want to give Seth Rollins credit, which I normally don't, because he's an injury guy. He likes to injure people, or he mistakenly, not that he likes to, but he does it. But his jump on the ladder to get that belt was a good end. That was probably the best match on the show. Like that match really turned the show around. It was kind of feeling like a softball show, meaning that, the Cena Triple H is fine, but you could tell they weren't going to risk injury to Triple H. He's too vital to them right now, and as is Cena. So those two guys, Cena and Triple H, I like that as the opener because I should have seen that coming. That gives Triple H the rest of the night to kind of comprehend what he's doing or to concentrate on business. And I thought Cena's little speech, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like he's looking for sympathy, and it's like, Cena, you get no sympathy. You fucked a hot chick for a couple of years. You got rid of her. You don't get sympathy. I'm sorry. You don't deserve it, okay? So I just don't want to hear that Cena shit. I mean, from him, it's just, to me, it's so disingenuous for Cena to be looking for sympathy. Right now, you're rich. You get in trouble for selling Fords or whatever the fuck, and so forth. So I'm not going to give sympathy to John Cena. I'm just not. It wasn't... Some of these NXT call-ups in the Greatest Royal Rumble, it's always a thing where, does it really help a guy to get an NXT call-up? I mean, I guess if you want to be very pragmatic about it or very by the book, you'd say Bruce Pritchard would say this, anytime you get screen time on WWE television, it's a good thing. Yes, that's true. At the same time, if you're just a guy, a jag, just another guy getting thrown into this Royal Rumble and getting tossed after 5 minutes, is that so good? Or just having an unceremonial in and out type of thing. And you can try to hope that some of these guys, some of the bigger guys especially, who kind of got in there and mixed it up and got dumped over unceremoniously, does that kind of give them something in the future to work with? I don't know. Maybe it does. I think somebody said that Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero was in there with a new gimmick, which I must have blinked. I've seen Chris Hero in years gone by. I saw him in Cesaro tag team at Ring of Honor against the Briscoes years ago, on really a Ring of Honor show that was piss poor except for that match, the Briscoes versus Chris Hero and Claudio years ago. So I think I know what one they're talking about. If it was Cassius Ohno in the ring, I guess I just blinked. But I do remember seeing him, I think. He looked different. I don't know. Seeing Mike Bennett in and out, kind of getting that bushwhacker thing going where you just roll in, you get clotheslined out. Wasn't too happy to see that. Mike Bennett's very talented, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's not great to see that, to be honest with you. So he's a good guy, and maybe they need to turn him babyface or do something or whatever, but that was a little depressing. Jericho's fucking promo in the backstage was uninspired to me. It might have been the chemistry with him and the guy interviewing him and trying to do the whole gimmick of, I don't remember your name, you look like the other guy, and then he trots out the list, and it's like, what you've come to expect, or what I've come to expect from Chris Jericho, is constant reinvention, constant new stuff from him. And when Chris Jericho gives me or gives anyone like the same shit that he did 7 months ago, then it's just kind of it's just kind of like, what the fuck? It's like, we don't, I expect a little bit more, I guess is the word, from a Chris Jericho, meaning that just to come back, he said 7 months since he's been there, but really he did the fucking greatest, whatever the fuck, the 25th anniversary of Raw show. He was there, at least a backstage segment. It seems like Jericho is kind of doing the Jericho thing where, oh, let me just pick up where I left off. I never went to New Japan. I never wrestled Kenny Omega. I never said how great it was to have freedom. All those things that Jericho was so high and mighty about when he did his New Japan thing. And now he's back in the fold. He's back with Vince. He's back being a good little boy. And so he's just put on his WWE face again, which is part of the team, part of the program. So that's fine. But I mean, I'm not going to say he was great tonight. I did pick Jericho to win. I thought that Jericho could have been a guy like in that Triple H, rarefied air. I think Solid Monster said this, so I'm not, I try to give credit to people when they say things, or maybe Meltzer. I think it was Solid Monster though. Brian Solid Monster said, maybe Jericho's in that rarefied air where he can wrestle 2 matches a year or 4 matches a year, and every match counts. Every match is something, kind of like a Brock Lesnar. Speaking of which, the Roman Reigns thing, it was a good finish, and maybe it's a deal like this. If wrestling fans like myself are mad that they don't want to see Roman get pushed, well, now he's losing, so we should be happy. I guess the problem is we don't like Brock either, so, it's who's to say what's what, but I don't like either one of those guys, and I don't know who I'd want with the belt, to be honest with you. I just don't see a champion. Maybe, what the fuck? Triple H, I guess, because I do like Triple H for the most part. Anyway, it was a good show. We all had fun. Women were the big losers tonight because they showed that they could do a show without women. And so that's not good for the women's roster. But that's just my opinion. You can call me a fucking asshole. But women, you kind of lost out tonight because it was proven by the WWE that you're not vital for every show to be successful. And I mean, that's just a brutal way of saying it. But Vince is going to use this against the women wrestlers of the future. So women were the big losers tonight. The big winners, I don't know. Braun Strowman.